Hey everyone, and welcome back to the ATD Movie Channel. I'm Tony, and today I'll be reviewing 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. The indie darling taking the award season by storm. Let's jump right into it. I saw 3 billboards a few weeks ago and haven't really found the way to explain how I felt about the movie. The film was written and directed by Martin McDonough, and it stars Frances McDormand. She plays Mildred, whose daughter has been brutally murdered, and she puts up these 3 billboards that are meant to catch the attention of the police department in Ebbing, Missouri, who she feels have not done enough to find the daughter's murderer. And that's where things really start to get interesting. I'll tell you what I liked about the movie. The acting in this film is superb. I'll get to McDormand's performance in a moment, but let me start with Sam Rockwell's Oscar-nominated role as a bumbling cop. Rockwell is such a versatile actor, and this role may finally catapult him into the Hollywood elite. The character would have been two-dimensional if played by really any other actor. He could have been just an idiot cop who was being outsmarted by a vengeful mother. Instead, Rockwell finds the character's multiple layers and a way to peel them back just a little bit at a time. He's a completely different character by the end of the film versus the start of the movie. And Rockwell makes it a believable turn, despite some crazy antics along the way. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to stop there, and I'll be placing my bets on Sam Rockwell getting his first Oscar come March. Other supporting characters help tie the film together. Lucas Hedges plays Frances McDormand's son, who's grieving the loss of his sister. But it's a different method of grieving than what we saw from Hedges in last year's Manchester by the Sea. Also in the film are Golden Globe winners Peter Dinklage and Academy Award nominee John Hawkes. Both actors with limited screen time create some memorable characters that provided depth to the film. And my favorite role in the movie was played by the great Woody Harrelson. My goodness, I loved this character. Harrelson plays the sheriff and the target of Mildred's billboards. But the character is so rich and so well thought out. And not just for the sake of having an interesting character, but he's well thought out in that his existence and his likability create conflict and challenges for the Mildred character that she never saw coming. And while Harrelson was not nominated for a Golden Globe, he has been nominated for an Academy Award for this role. And while I think Sam Rockwell will ultimately take the prize of Best Supporting Actor, it was great to see Harrelson get recognition in his 3rd Oscar nom. I'd also like to recognize how funny the movie is. I like that aspect of it a lot. It reminded me of a Coen brothers film with their dry sense of humor. In fact, at first glance, one may not know that the movie's directed by Martin McDonough, but the Coen brothers instead. Regardless, the movie had me and a sold-out crowd laughing hysterically throughout the entire runtime. And the comedy is an interesting choice by the writer-director, considering the very serious subject matter. This is where McDonough's script really shines. Okay, so I can understand that people are loving this movie and it's being nominated for all sorts of awards, but I didn't enjoy the movie at all, and allow me to tell you why. Earlier I mentioned all the great acting in the film, and you probably noticed that I skipped over Frances McDormand's performance. And it's not because she gave a bad performance, quite the contrary, but because the character was not very well written in my opinion. McDormand plays Mildred as a strong, dedicated, and persistent woman, and that's awesome. Her thirst for vengeance is not only admirable, it's commendable, but there was no depth to the character, and I don't think this was some choice for an artistic expression of grief or sadness. Mildred is merciless in her journey. She's as cold as ice. And that's okay if that's the only side of the character that the writer-director intended us to see, but it's not. There's several times in the movie where Mildred finally breaks down and begins to cope with the reality of the situation, only to have the camera pan away within literally seconds of her breaking down. Now, let's be clear, I don't get my jollies off of seeing a woman grieving and crying, but I felt like we had to, as an audience, see her in her lowest moments. We need to see her emotion and humanity to be 100% invested in the character and her mission. I paid really close attention to the way the camera captured Mildred. I paid really close attention. And it was as though they wanted Mildred to be played in the same vein as like a 1980s cop out for revenge, just merciless and cold. And I spent a fair amount of time talking about this because I felt as though the Mildred character was the glue to the entire film. And it wasn't done as well as I personally would have liked to see it. Another aspect of the film I simply could not look past was the outlandish plot points. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but there are seriously multiple events in this movie that are just outright ridiculous. For a movie to have this kind of premise, serious subject matter, and amazing performances, it played out like a cartoon at various parts of the film. And some events were so outlandish with zero witnesses that I couldn't suspend my disbelief any longer. Instead, I was thinking, where the hell is everybody? Where are the cops? And why isn't anyone in the busiest part of town, and why aren't they seeing what's happening right now? And there's multiple scenes like this where you have to suspend your disbelief. Look, overall, I suppose I can understand the film's appeal. It's a bit different, it's a bit quirky, and it offers up some amazing performances by some really great actors. But for me, and the keyword here is me, I didn't like it. I can't recommend it to anyone despite its 7 Oscar nominations. There are so many other great movies that should have been recognized at the level that 3 Billboards is being recognized with now. So, have you seen 3 Billboards? What do you think about the performances? And what do you think about the crazy plot points? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be notified of content uploaded regularly. You can find other movie reviews on the channel as well. Thanks for watching my review for 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. I'll talk to you soon.